A New Zealand Limited Liability Company, an LLC, is a popular business structure that offers several advantages for new business owners seeking to establish a formal and legally separate identity from themselves. Now in this video, I'll talk about the key aspects and benefits of forming a limited liability company here in New Zealand. So, a New Zealand Limited Liability Company, an LLC, is a distinct legal entity and it's separate from its shareholders. Now, it provides a level of protection for those shareholders' personal assets. This legal structure allows the company to deduct trading expenses from its income and pay tax on its profits. Now, if the company incurs more expenses than income, resulting in a loss, it may also not be liable to pay tax. It may even get a refund. Now, the establishment and operation of LLCs are governed by the New Zealand Companies Act of 1993. Business owners must comply with the regulations outlined in this act to ensure legal compliance and smooth operations. Now, one of the key benefits of an LLC is the limited liability that its shareholders have. The LLC is considered a distinct legal entity, as I've said, from its owners, meaning shareholders' personal assets are often safeguarded from the company's debts and liabilities. The shareholders' liability is usually confined to the value of their shareholding within the company. There are some exceptions though. So in other words, shareholders are not personally responsible for the total debts of the company. Now, I mentioned exceptions. It's important to note that this limited liability may not apply if the company is deemed to be trading recklessly or while insolvent, and in which case the directors will or could be held personally liable for the debts. Likewise, if you've given personal guarantees over debts, maybe to the bank or suppliers. Now, while LLCs provide some level of protection, it's essential to be aware they may not offer complete personal asset protection. As I've said, if a director personally guarantees a company's debts, for example, the limited liability protection may not apply in such cases. Furthermore, directors can also be held liable for actions of their employees. Now, an employee-related dispute or the employees trading recklessly on the director's behalf. So it's always prudent to have an extra level of protection. So business owners are encouraged to obtain public indemnity insurance. Now, this type of insurance can cover accidental damage, workplace accidents, employee disputes, and other associated costs, further safeguarding the business and its directors from potential financial risk and exposure. To enhance the protection for personal assets in case of a business failure, it's often a case that business owners will use a family trust in conjunction with an LLC. Now, a family trust can add an extra layer of safeguarding, although it's crucial to seek advice from a very competent lawyer and accountant to determine the most suitable legal entity for your individual circumstances. A New Zealand LLC can be operated by a single director, but that director must be an individual and can't actually be another company. Another company can have the shares, but cannot be a director. This flexibility allows for streamlined decision making. An LLC does not have a minimum share capital requirement, etc. Shareholders can contribute any amount they agree upon, making it suitable for any size of business. Now, additionally, there's no strict minimum requirement for the number of shareholders. Even a single shareholder can establish an LLC. The LLC must have a unique name that is different from all the other registered company names in New Zealand. It's mandatory for the company name to include the abbreviation LTD at the end. Moreover, each LLC must have a physical office address and cannot be used like a post office box, etc. So you must have a registered address. Now, registering a New Zealand LLC involves several steps. To start an LLC in New Zealand, business owners need to draft company bylaws which serve as the constitution of the company. Now, that defines its structure and its operations. Now, the company can use existing bylaws from other entities with personalised details changed, or default to the regulations set forth in the Companies Act of 1993. They're not onerous, but it's worth looking at. Next, the LLC must be registered through the company's office online, and to do this, business owners will need to set up a RealMe login here in New Zealand, check the availability of their desired company name, reserve it, and then proceed with the registration. Now, this process generates a unique identifier for the New Zealand business known as the New Zealand Business Number, an NZBN. After registration, the LLC must then obtain a tax number from the Inland Revenue, and then it may also need to register for GST and PAYE if it intends to hire employees. An LLC is subject to its own tax obligations. It can deduct legitimate expenses from its income, reducing taxable profit. The company will pay tax on its profits at the applicable corporate or company tax rate, so if the LLC incurs a loss, it may not have to pay taxes for that financial year. However, if the company distributes profits to shareholders in the form of dividends, shareholders are individually liable to pay income tax on those dividends. So it pays to talk to a competent tax accountant to structure that the correct way. To keep personal and company finances separate, it's essential to open a business bank account. However, allow a bit of time to do that, as the banks will have to comply with the requirements related to New Zealand's own anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism laws. So the banks are required to conduct thorough checks on individuals and shareholders and directors before opening any account. Now, small privately owned New Zealand LLCs are generally not required to file annual financial documents with the company register, as opposed to tax returns. You do have to file those, except in very specific cases. But full financial transaction records must be maintained from starting of trading. The accounting year for New Zealand companies typically runs from April the 1st to March 31st, and an annual return must be filed with the Companies Office to verify the company's active status each year. So New Zealand offers one of the most straightforward company formation processes in the world. It has simple requirements and it's easy to do. Nevertheless, when forming your LLC, you should consider accounting and legal professionals who can help you make sound decisions in the best interests of you and your business. Well, your company's formed. The next step will be writing a business plan so you know where you're going and how to succeed. But how do you do that? Check out this video up here. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.